Welcome to a new episode of the 90s Metal Gamer, where we stay hydrated and play video games. For this episode, I'm going to give a casual review of Tears of the Kingdom. Once again, this is a casual review, not a 100% completion review. I didn't really put myself on any kind of timeline when I wanted to make this video. Main reason being because I was moving to a new state. And I'm already in my new state and I start my new job in a few days. Considering all this, I do have a new schedule. I will not be publishing as many videos as I was previously. I am going to be working longer hours, but that's okay. I can work around that. Alright, now that is out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this review video.
And then the Lord said,
I want to see your tiny head.
The very first Zelda game that I ever played was Link's Awakening on the OG GBA with the green screen. Yeah, that one right there. It released June 6 of 1993, so it had to have been at least 5 or 6 years old when I first played it. And since then, I have been a die-hard fan of the Zelda series. I've played every single Zelda game since then, with the exception of Spirit Tracks and Phantom Hourglass. If you paid attention carefully, you noticed that I said I played all the Zelda games since Link's Awakening. I didn't mention about beating every single one of them. Majora's Mask is one of those that I did not complete. Yes, I have played it, but I never finished it. And to be quite honest, it didn't really vibe with me that well. Same thing applies to The Wind Waker. I did not beat it, but for different reasons, of course. The Wind Waker's art style is what really set me off about it. I just couldn't look past it. And a lot of people have told me, look past it and you'll find that it has a really good story. While I do believe you, the cel-shaded art style, in my opinion, is something that does not fit the Zelda series. So that's the reason why I couldn't look past it. My favorite Zelda game of all time is Twilight Princess, more so than Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Although I will say, they do come really, really close. And no, you cannot change my mind about this. Twilight Princess is the best Zelda game out there, at least in my own humble opinion. Okay. I'm sure you're quite tired of me ranting on about which Zelda game is the best one, even though it is Twilight Princess. This video is about Tears of the Kingdom, and we're going to do a casual review of it, meaning that I did not do a 100% completion on this game. The main focus was the story of this game. Over the course of this review, I'm going to go over the story, the gameplay, the presentation, and the music. And then we'll wrap it all up with a water score. Let's get into it. Tears of the Kingdom is a direct sequel to Breath of the Wild, and it picks up exactly where Breath of the Wild left off. You are obviously playing as Link, and the game starts off with you and Princess Zelda exploring the ruins underneath Hyrule Castle. The deeper you go underneath the ruins of Hyrule Castle, the more you learn about its origins and its history, and even go as far as finding out who the first king of Hyrule is, or was. Slight spoiler alert right here. Well, this whole video is going to be a whole spoiler. I don't exactly know when the time of this game is supposed to fit into the Zelda timeline, because time travel is involved in this game. What I do know is that Link and Ganondorf are cursed to fight each other until the end of time. So if you ask me, I think this game takes place after the events of Skyward Sword. Or this version of Ganondorf is completely reincarnated and doesn't know anything about Link. Here's a clip from when Link and Zelda first encountered Ganondorf under the ruins of Hyrule Castle.
What is that?
Was that the sword that seals the darkness? The blade that shatters so easily against my power cannot save you from me. Zelda. You who carries that fragile sword. A Link. Rauru placed his faith in you. And that was all you could do.
How do you know our names?
And there you have it. That is the introduction to Tears of the Kingdom that leads to the story of the game. Throughout the gameplay, you still have a lot that you need to do. You need to awaken the sages, this, that, and the other, get stronger before you even begin thinking about fighting Ganondorf. Trust me on this one. You will need to get stronger. Link does lose his right arm in the initial fight with Ganondorf. Thankfully, the first king of Hyrule, Rauru, lends him his arm in order to continue fighting. Although he is not here physically, he no longer has a physical form, so this is all spiritual. I guess you can call this a form of astral projection, if you will. When you finally come to, you are on some kind of sky island that pays tribute to Skyward Sword. At least that's what I think it does. I could go on and on and on about all the things that Tears of the Kingdom has to offer, but I'm not going to do that. This is just a casual review video, so I'm only going to touch on the things that are important to the story. And if I'm going to be quite honest here, there is a lot to unpack in the story, so I want to sum it up in just a few words. I will say that Ganondorf is no chump in this game. He is a force to be reckoned with, especially the Phantom Ganons. And I can't forget about the Gloom Hands. Fuck those things. The story follows the same template as Breath of the Wild in a sense that you have the option to fight Ganondorf right from the start. Although I do not recommend it, considering he is no chump. He is difficult. At least to me it was. Keep in mind, I'm not the same gamer that I used to be 20 years ago. I've said this many times before and I will continue to say it, and I will stand by it. I play my games to enjoy them, and I will play them on the easiest difficulty if I can. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but you do not need to complete every game you have to 100% completion in order to enjoy them. You can enjoy the games just for the story without having to complete all the side quests. I said what I said. The gameplay is very similar to that of Breath of the Wild. You'll feel right at home with this one. And instead of the Sheikah Slate giving you your powers, you have Raru's right arm giving you different abilities. The first one being the Ultra Hand, which is mostly used to move objects and mend objects together. The second one is Fuse, arguably the best one. You can fuse anything to anything. Like you name it, you can fuse it together. The next one is Ascend. Ascend is used for vertical traversal in Tears of the Kingdom. Now let me explain that just a little bit more. You can ascend through anything as long as there is no hard obstructions that are going to block your path. And you can ascend through almost everything, and let me tell you, it is very useful when you're trying to reach the top of a mountain in a fairly quick pace. Or the top of anything, really. The last one I'm going to talk about is Recall. It is used to rewind time on any one given object. Here's a demonstration of it. Correct me if I'm wrong, please, but from what I understand, there is no right or wrong way to play Tears of the Kingdom. And quite frankly, the recall feature was very useful in a very small number of instances. Like when I was trying to figure out a puzzle to a shrine. It came really handy then. But in Hyrule Field, I really didn't use it that much. But I will say it came in handy when I was trying to climb a mountain that was very high and a falling object was coming down. And all I had to do was use recall on that falling object once it hit the ground, and I was able to climb up that mountain with ease. I've seen a lot of Tears of the Kingdom TikTok videos, and a lot of them have said that Tears of the Kingdom is Breath of the Wild DLC. And I agree with them to a certain extent. In some instances, Tears of the Kingdom is an extension of Breath of the Wild, being that it continues exactly where the story left off from Breath of the Wild, and it builds upon that. And at the same time, it is much deeper and much more massive than Breath of the Wild. You have 3 areas to explore in this game. You got the sky, you got the ground, and you have the depths, which is my least favorite out of the 3. And I did not get all the light routes in the depths because, well, this is a casual review video. I wanted to focus merely on the main story of this game. But I promise you, as of making this video, I have gotten all the light routes. And I'm barely over 50% in the game, like 50.08. This game is severely massive. If you go through the main story of this game, it requires you to awaken 5 sages. That's what you see that's hanging around me right now. Those are the 5 sages that'll help you defeat Ganondorf. Once again, they are optional, so you don't really need them per se to beat the game, but I will say it is very, very useful and very helpful if you do use them. Here are the gloom hands that I was talking about earlier. I really don't like these things. They are straight out of a nightmare. Speaking of nightmare, I'm more inclined to believe that Tears of the Kingdom is a horror game rather than an action-adventure game. What do you think? If you look in the lower left corner of the screen, you can see how much stronger I've gotten over the last month. It's quite a bit. Now, just enjoy me struggling against these gloom hands, and once I finish these gloom hands, I'll have to fight a Phantom Ganon. Enjoy. Yes, I know I am not the greatest at this game and I shouldn't quit my day job, and I'm okay with that. But you can see that I struggled quite a bit with this Phantom Ganon. The gameplay itself is a deep rabbit hole that I want to go down, but this video is already starting to get longer than I wanted it to, so we're just going to cut it off right here. That is just a taste of the gameplay. Now, let's move on to the presentation. There's no denying that Tears of the Kingdom looks absolutely beautiful. although I will say it is the same as Breath of the Wild. And I stand by what I said earlier. Cel shading does not look good in the Zelda series. And of course, this is all just a matter of opinion. There are people that will say otherwise. And I will firmly stand my ground and say that Twilight Princess is peak graphics for the Zelda series. My favorite scenes out of the game are when Link is free falling from the sky. As you can see right here, you can see everything from the sky to the ground. Truly beautiful. Nintendo made Ganondorf look like an absolute menace in this game, like a true reincarnation of Demise. Since Ganondorf is cursed to embody Demise's hatred for Link time and time again, they got it right. They did it absolutely wonderful. Now, in my own humble opinion, Tears of the Kingdom has the best reincarnation of Demise yet. At least until we see the next game. Overall, I'd have to say the graphics are absolutely beautiful. Considering my dislike for the cel shaded look, it is still absolutely beautiful. 10 out of 10. Now, I'm not sure how big in terms of gigabytes Tears of the Kingdom is, but it blows my mind that Nintendo was able to capture this much game and this much audio into that little bitty cartridge. At this point, I'm just gonna let the music speak for itself.
Regardless, I will reshape this world as it was meant to be. I will crush any opposition. I will rule. That is what a king must do. Do not look away. You witness a king's revival. And the birth of his new world.
The music gets a 10 out of 10 from me. No need to say anything more. overall, I had loads of fun playing Tears of the Kingdom, and to be quite honest with everyone, I died a lot. And most of the dying was done in the beginning of the game. Of course, that is natural because I am significantly weaker. And because I was nerfed of all of my hearts in the beginning because of Ganondorf's gloom. I'm really not a big fan of open world gameplay because I like linear stories. I like to follow a linear path. And since I've played this game, my outlook has changed on open world gameplay. I guess that goes along with the old saying of don't knock it till you try it. There are some people across the internet that are saying that they don't like this game because it is way too big. The map is just way too massive for them to traverse. Well, that's where the fast travel comes in. Use your fast travel to get to a close point of where you need to go. Isn't that the point of fast travel? Anyway, I'm getting off topic here. Personally, I do not think the oversized map is a downfall. Quite frankly, I loved it, and it has opened up my eyes to open world gameplay. I like them now because of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. There was one thing I was kind of confused about when I was playing Tears of the Kingdom, and it is the name Rauru. In the Ocarina of Time, Rauru is the Sage of Light. In Tears of the Kingdom, Rauru is the first king of Hyrule. I was convinced that if I play the game just a little bit more, I would find the connection between the two. Well, I couldn't be more wrong. So now I am left to assume one of two things. One being that Sage Rauru is a reincarnation of King Rauru, or Sage Rauru is a descendant of King Rauru. One or the other. What do you guys think? No matter what the case is with the two Raurus, this game gets a water score of 5 out of 5 bottles of water. Thank you for watching my videos. I truly do appreciate it. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing to the channel. I love y'all, stay hydrated, and stay tuned for my next video.